Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here on DarkAvengerINCPlus, and today I'm doing an in-depth review of All New X-Men number 6. Pretty much this is the start of a new story arc after the original X-Men, after the original 5 X-Men have been brought to the future by Beast, who wanted the young Scott Summers to see how he would turn out, and hopefully that would somehow change the future so Cyclops wouldn't be mutant revolutionist, so to speak. I'm just letting people know that whenever I review all new X-Men, I like to refer, just to avoid any confusion, I like to refer to the past original Young X-Men by their civilian names and the present X-Men by their code names. Like the future original X-Men, I refer to by their code names, and for the younger X-Men from the past, I just call them by their civilian names, okay? Alright, so anyways, issue opens up with Jean Grey having a nightmare where first Cyclops and Magneto bust into her room saying they're here to save her, then Wolverine showing up and he kills Jean, and suddenly the Phoenix comes up, but it was just a nightmare, and Kitty Pryde runs in and calms Jean down, and also Jean's still having trouble controlling her telepathy because she just found out last story arc that she can read people's thoughts, and it's becoming very difficult for her, especially since she's discovering it a little earlier than expected, and she's having a lot of difficulty. She's hearing the thoughts of everyone in the Jean Grey school, so she's learning to control herself. She's blocking, and thankfully, thanks to Kitty Pryde, she's able to help her out by teaching her to control her powers with lessons that Kitty learned from the future Jean Grey. And while this is going on with Jean, Scott Summers, who's pretty much dealing with the fact of what his future self is like, he's pretty much down in the dumps. He's also he's pretty much shunned by almost every other student at the school, and so he's just like had it. And again, this is like the funniest thing, the funniest, stupidest thing that Scott Summers has ever done. He steals Wolverine's bike and jacket to go on the run. Oh my god, if Logan wasn't going to kill Scott Summers before this, now he definitely is. Because Logan's like, wait a minute. Because Logan's like eating breakfast, and then suddenly he hears his bike, and he's like, son of a mother! just goes after Scott. And meanwhile, Scott, he's trying on the run, and he stops at a corner store, like a convenience store, and he notices a few things about the future, like smartphones and how expensive magazines are. Then Logan finds him, and at first it seems like Wolverine's trying to understand what Scott's going through, but then they have another argument, and Scott ends up blasting Wolverine with his eye beams and heading off again, and again going on the run to get away from him, but Logan's still following. And all this is being observed by Warren, who is discovered by his present-day self, Angel, and so Warren finally gets to meet his future self. And meanwhile, and again, another thing that's going on, the last page, it's revealed that someone has brought the attention of a young of the past X-Men to Mystique. So now Mystique knows that the past versions of the original X-Men are in the present. So she's now getting ready to have a plan going. Okay, well, All New X-Men number 6. It's definitely a great opener to a new story arc. I'd say if you haven't been reading this series, you should. It's awesome, but especially get this issue number 6, because this is a new start of a new story arc. It's a good jumping on. I think this is a good jumping on point. I mean, it pretty much lays the groundwork. Jean Grey dealing with the fact that she has new power. Also, she's dead in the future. Plus now, and this is new for Jean, but she's starting to be the leader of the original X-Men because, well, Scott's kind of dealing with his own stuff right now, and most of the other X-Men, original X-Men are looking at her for guidance, so naturally Jean's going to be like the current leader. And another thing that I like about this is how they're sort of setting up what Scott's doing, because I think what Scott's really trying to do, he's not just trying to run away from the school and the other X-Men. I think he's trying to find his future self Cyclops, so that he can get some one-on-one time with him, because they did have the issue, because in issue 4 the original X-Men did see Cyclops and Magneto trying to get another mutant to join their team, and I thought that was a good setup for like the original X-Men realizing what the situation is. But also, I kind of think it would be good for the series is if Scott and Cyclops were by themselves dealing with this like one-on-one. Okay, that's something I want to see, and I think that's the direction we're headed with this. But I think we may get a few road bumps along the way, and that first road bump will probably be Mystique. But All New X-Men number 6, it's a very great issue. I like it. I think Brian Michael Bendis is doing a good job on this. I like how he's sort of giving Jean Grey the struggles of dealing with the fact that she's dead, and also that she has a new power. And so Jean Grey is grown as a character with this series. Also, again, Scott, I really like it, especially with the fact that he's coming, that Scott is also dealing with the fact that he's going to kill Charles Xavier in the future. So, I think that's going to be an interesting situation for him. And again, I really look forward to him having some one-on-one time with his future self. Okay, that's my in-depth review of All New X-Men number 6. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. Spider-Man Night 10 to Wednesday, and see you later.